So, from one of the closest, if not the closest, qualifying session in Formula One ever, to Ferrari being favourites, to Ferrari not being favourites, to Sergio Perez being Red Bull's favourite, to then maybe not being Red Bull's favourite by his remorse, maybe. We've got a lot to get into in what was a very exciting qualifying session. And welcome back to the Hot Lap. First of all, absolutely congratulations to George Russell on securing only his second pole position. Yep, he got that one, Hungary was it, I believe? But now he's got a second pole number 2. Let's quickly have a rundown of that grid, shall we? Or what I suspect is going to be the grid, with George Russell and Max Verstappen doing exactly the same time. And also, it looks really, it's a 1:12 flat. Simply lovely. Is it the closest qualifying session ever? Well, I'll get into that in a second. So, Lando Norris on a 1:12.021, Piastri on a 1:12.1, and Ricciardo on a 1:12.178. Poor old Lewis Hamilton, who looked favourite at one point, is behind Alonso all the way down in 7th. Tsunoda 8th, Stroll 9th. Not too bad for Stroll. I mean, he said himself he's out-qualified Fernando Alonso. He's a classy driver. Don't know so much about that, but to be fair to him, massive congratulations. The pressure is always immense at your home Grand Prix. And, okay, while I think he's not quite Fernando Alonso, as shown in the qualifying here, I do think, despite all my lambasting at Lance Stroll, he did quite a good job. But the biggest, other than Sergio Perez, which I wouldn't say is the biggest thing, is it really a surprise now? It's happened so many times. But the biggest surprise, what happened to Ferrari? All weekend they were like a bit meh, exceedingly average, I think, are the two words you could describe them. And they end up being 11th and 12th. I just don't get it. I don't think Ferrari get it. And Charles Leclerc was really shocked into their pace throughout the whole weekend. I might get why they qualified outside the top 10, because they were the team that decided, and in hindsight, not a good decision, to not put new tyres on. They qualified in Q2 on their fast times on used rubber, which clearly it was quite obvious it was not going that way. Alas, I mean, yeah, absolutely not good at all. So let's get into the drivers now, shall we? So let's do driver by driver and how they did. So last, but hopefully, well, I say no. I suggest no means least, but is Mr. Zhao Guanyu. Not a particularly great qualifying for him. Very average. I to be fair though, I don't think the state Sauber was exactly particularly very strong, if I'm honest. Average at best. But Hulkenberg, I mean, he got beaten. He got properly beaten by his teammate. Oh dear. Yeah, unlikely, but there we go. Next up, we've got the naughty man of Monaco, the villain of Monaco for some, Esteban Ocon, qualifying 18th, but he's very much going to be last because he's got that 3-place grid penalty. So after Esteban Ocon, it's this man right here, everybody's favourite mullet-wearing Finn. I had to think about that for a second. Okay, yeah, qualified now, which is good, but then 17th, I don't think the car really could have done that much better. I rate Bottas. I mean, remember, I keep saying this is the guy that out-qualified Hamilton on a few times, and statistically, he is the best qualifier. But the guy who is 16th, let's get into the guy who's 16th. It's none other, yeah, I've mentioned it, than this guy right here. Yes, Red Bull's brand new signee for 2025, and might I add, 2026. So Sergio Perez, as we know, he was signed up before the Canadian Grand Prix, wasn't he? Okay, so what do we think of Sergio Perez? Is the fact that he's qualified so far back in 16th, and he did, just so you know, in Q3. Let me look. He did a 1:13.326. Max Verstappen did a 1:12. 113.360. So a 113. So we're looking at, I mean, we're looking at nearly what? A second? I mean, 1 second. 1 second. Is that good enough, I ask you? No. This is their new signing. This is the man that's going to help Max Verstappen win the championship, not all the way down in 16th. I was fully intending coming into this race, hopefully thinking, yeah, Perez, you're going to do something good. Fingers crossed. No. He didn't, did he? People accuse me of, hating on the guy. I don't want to use the term hate. I'm trying to be a realist. I'm sure he's a really nice guy. But why is he in one of the best teams and currently the most successful team of the last 3 years? Winning, 2 constructors and 3 drivers' championships over the last 3 years. Yeah, it's just not good enough, is it? 15th, and he was going gangbusters. At one point, it looked like it almost looked like he was going to be in Q3. Pierre Gasly, pretty much about as good, I think, as that car's going to be with the Renault engine. But I was kind of disappointed with Haas. I thought, perhaps wrongly, that they were going to do a bit better. But Magnussen 14th, yeah, he's going to be really happy that he out-qualified Hulkenberg, but that's kind of about it, really. But I think one of the drivers of the day, because it looked like at one point, the first time I think this guy, at least this year, has got out of Q3. And it looked like at one point he was going to get maybe in Q1. He was doing gangbusters. So far, this has been the best weekend for Logan Sargent. Possibly too much too soon. I mean, Sky was talking to James Vowles and he blatantly said, yeah, we want Carlos Sainz. Which kind of made me feel a bit sorry for Sargent, but not that much because he has had, let's be fair, more chances than most, but 13th, you can get points from there, and we know what Canada's like. So on to, I think, one of the two biggest shockers. This guy here, he starts to behind his teammate Carlos Sainz. Yeah, what is going on? And it wasn't only him. I don't understand, and this is the one thing about Sainz and Leclerc, but you can probably blame Leclerc. You can probably blame Charles Leclerc for it more. Is that it was so obvious that you shouldn't have been on the medium tyre come Q2. But neither of these drivers, from what I understand, and they may have done, but it wasn't obvious on the Sky feed that I was watching. None of them really challenged. They didn't really challenge the pit wall. And this is a rare mistake, fortunately, from Ferrari, but still a fairly significant one. And 11th and 12th. Yeah, but the car, to be fair, even if they've made it in to Q3, we're looking at they would have been, like last, 5th row maybe, 4th or 5th row, I'd imagine. So, but from success, from a lack of success to surprisingly in Alex Albon, yeah, really solid job. Hopefully getting points from there, building on what happened at the Monaco Grand Prix. And I've already mentioned him, but I do normally destroy him for his performances, and I still don't think he should be in Formula One. But credit where credit is due. Well done, Lance Stroll. He looked really, really fighty. He looked like, he took the fight to Fernando Alonso this time, and although he didn't win, it wouldn't have surprised me had he beaten Fernando Alonso. He was so strong. The only it was a bit amateur. I think 2 times he ended up hitting the wall, and I do think he was maybe just a bit lucky to not get damage. You saw the way I think Alex Albon did it in, I believe it was the practice 3, and it didn't, and that seemed, let's say, less hard than I think Lance Stroll. I just think he was lucky with the angle. So yeah, it really, really could have been 0 to 0 stuff there. But well done, Lance Stroll, for 9th. Not bad at all. But even better than Lance Stroll was RB's brand new re-signing, let's say. So a massive congratulations. It was exclusive to Sky when Christian Horner announced, yes, we've re-signed Yuki Tsunoda for next year. Bearing in mind, Yuki Tsunoda qualified 8th. Sergio Perez, in one of the best cars, qualified 16th. In Q3, Yuki Tsunoda did a 112.748. Need to remind you that Sergio Perez did a 113.326. We're looking at nearly what? Half a second quicker. Why? Why? Oh, why? I don't get it. Why? Why, Red Bull? Why did you not sign Yuki Tsunoda? We told you to sign Yuki Tsunoda. Now, whilst I appreciate, yes, you're not really going to listen to us. Completely get that. I completely understand. But why? I'd like to know why, and I think that's a question that a lot of Formula One fans are most certainly going to be asking. Why haven't you signed Yuki Tsunoda, especially after this race? And if this Perez thing carries on, it's almost laughable. I hope it doesn't. I hope that Perez comes through and finishes on the podium in what was an amazing race for him and an amazing race, an exciting race to watch. Will it happen? I don't think so. Once again, like I say, I would love to be proved wrong. But Tsunoda 8th. So from one guy that, did really well, not as good as his teammate, to another guy that looked like he was going to do really well, but not as good as his teammate. He's got to be quite disappointing, all the way down in 7th. Bear in mind, though, he's only about, he's within 3/10. And he's all the way down in 7th. And this is exactly what we mean, for example, when we talk about Sergio Perez, needs to be within there. And it almost seemed, once we hit Q3, the pace kind of, I don't know, just that the maximum pace kind of went. Having said that, I am fairly confident that first corner issues aside, I think he'll do quite well in the race. Podium, potentially. The only issue is going to be obviously Verstappen and the two McLarens, but well done, well done nearly. Nearly well done, Lewis Hamilton. But yeah, I think all of his fans and Lewis himself will be disappointed with 7th, when it could have been, let's be fair, the front 2 rows. And I thought at least it's going to be the front 2 rows. So, yeah. Oh, Lewis. But Fernando Alonso, not bad. 6th, best qualifying for for quite a while. Because Lance Stroll had been showing him the way. So, another guy that could finish on the podium. Those Aston Martins have looked quite good. And all we need is a safety car in the right place. Couple of crashes, an issue at the first corner, you never know. But from Fernando Alonso, I think, to one of the other guys of qualifying, we've got quite a few have-a-go heroes here, haven't we? And the latest have-a-go hero is, well done, Daniel Ricciardo. Now, it was Jacques Villeneuve that was absolutely lambasting him, saying he's done, he's finished, he should get out of Formula One. And that's something we'll probably end up talking about after in the race fallout. Because he does. I mean, clearly he doesn't hold back, which is why I think he is a fairly good pundit in one way or another for Sky. Because of that reason, yes, a lot of people are going to disagree with him, but he says what he thinks, and he's not afraid to say it. So, but well done, Daniel Ricciardo. I mean, is he back? Maybe a bit too early to say, but let's see what happens. And also, I think on qualifying, it was 10 years to the day today, I believe. On qualifying, the 8th of June, that he won his first race. Is he going to have a bit of luck tomorrow? That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? Podium? I doubt it, but podium Daniel Ricciardo would be absolutely amazing. So next up, we've got the first of the two McLaren boys, and it was, I think, quite close between them. Not either of them could have out-qualified the other, but Oscar Piastri qualifying 4th. Could he win? Absolutely, I think. Absolutely, he could win. Lando Norris qualifying 3rd. Could he win? Absolutely, he could win. The biggest issue I think we have going into the races, because of the lack of long-term dry running, we do not know what those tyres are going to do. And if it rains overnight, it's going to wash all that track green again, and and it might have graining. Stella, I was listening to Stella on Sky before I started recording, Andrea Stella, the McLaren boss, and he said there seems to be a lot of graining on that medium tyre, for example. But there we go. So from that to, I think Max Verstappen did a really good job. Yes, that car looked difficult. And I mean, not only did he qualify 2nd faster than his teammate, but he really gave it his all on that last lap and did it essentially getting the pole time, the exact same time. It was just not the time because George Russell got there first. But Max Verstappen, could he win? Absolutely. Never ever underestimate him. In fact, I think when you look at it, I think anyone in the top 10 could, I know it sounds crazy, if it's raining, could win the race if it's one of those crazy races. I mean, anyone I think from Hamilton, maybe minus Ricciardo, I don't think he's got the long-term pace, but Hamilton, Alonso, Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, Russell, I think any one of them could potentially win a race. I mean, win this race, sorry, yeah. So Verstappen, absolutely fantastic job. But was it the closest qualifying ever? Well, let me, where is it? Let me share this with you. Okay, this is the 1997, 1997 qualifying. And yes, it wasn't the closest ever for the top 3 or the top 4. As in Canada wasn't. This was, I mean, like the top 3, and which were the top 3 in the championship, 0.0000, and fourth was 58 thousandths off. Okay, so closest top 4 ever. But if you scroll down to 5th and 6th and 7th and for example 7th and 8th, even 7th, it was half a second, and we're looking at less than 0.3 of a second. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go closest qualifying ever, potentially, maybe, we'll see. But there we go. One of the closest qualifying ever. The closest qualifying of this century. Let's agree with that. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. That was the 1997 qualifying. I think the last time that the front row was all things being equal, closest qualifying this century. If you like what you see, please give us a subscribe. Subscribe for more Formula One content, touring car content. We'll have our touring car review of the races on Sunday in Thruxton. Probably Monday, because the Canadian Grand Prix is quite late. We'll be doing a review after the Canadian Grand Prix, and I imagine we'll be doing the fallout some point after that, all the news coming out of it. Also, a bit of rally news as well coming up next week. We've just done our rally fallout, and we've just done our touring car qualifying, and we went round Thruxton with Tim Harvey on the PlayStation 1. Yeah, see how we fared in the worst car, the Peugeot. We'll speak to you soon. Stay tuned here, right here at the Hot Lap for more Formula One. Thank you very much.